Hello, my name is Moses Putta. Thank you for selecting me for the first round of this internship opportunity. Now I have successfully completed the second task as explained in the assignment video. In this video, I will show the entire setup including Docker files, Docker Compose configuration, and how both services are running behind an Nginx reverse proxy. I have uploaded my complete project to the GitHub. This is the repository and name is DevOps Internship Assignment. I already cloned this repository into my local system and I opened it in VS Code. This repository contains one Docker compose.yml and one Nginx folder. It contains Docker file and Nginx.configure file and two services. One is for Go application, another one is for Python application. In service one, this is the Docker file for Go application. I used the official Go base image. I set working directory. I copied the source code and build the Go application and export port number 8001 and run the application. In the same way, I write for another Docker file in service 2 repository folder. This is for Python application. I used the Python 3.12 Slim bookworm image to keep it lightweight. Then I installed Caro and CS certificates which are required to install UV. Next I download and install UV and for a past Python package manager, which is a past Python package manager. I set working directory, copy all the dependency files and then create virtual environment and install dependencies, copy the source code and expose the port number 8000 port and run the application using UV virtual environment. And coming to the Nginx folder, this is the Docker file. For the reverse proxy, I used official Nginx image. Then I copied my custom Nginx config file. This is my custom Nginx config file. This step overrides the default Nginx config with my own configuration. My custom Nginx config file defines how incoming HTTP requests are handled and routes them to the correct backend service. Nginx listens on port number 80 and forwards request based on the path. With this setup, both services are accessible via single public port using clean URLs. And coming to the Docker compose.yml. Now I will explain the Docker Compose setup. I use a Docker Compose to run all three services with with just one command. I use a depends on to make sure the backend service starts first before Nginx. So with Docker Compose, I can run all services together using single command. Nginx take care of routing and all containers talk to each other through the Docker internal network. Now I am showing the now let me run this project and shows that how it works. This is the fresh EC2 instance. I deploy the application from scratch. I'll connect to EC2 instance. This is the basic script I written for all the installations git, docker, tree, and docker start the docker and docker compose. So, I'm cloning the repository into the EC2 instance. Go inside the repository, just give one command docker and compose. Up, well, everything was done with single command. Meanwhile, now I would like to explain a project I worked on recently. It's called application migration from on-premises to AWS cloud using AWS application migration services. The goal of this project was to move an existing application on physical or on-premises server to AWS cloud without changing the application itself. This type of migration is often called a lift and shift migration because we move the server as it is but to the cloud environment. For this, I used AWS application migration services, which helps to replicate and launch services in the cloud quickly and safely. Now let me walk through and step-by-step process I followed in this process. First install First I install AWS replication agent on the on-premises source server. This agent connects the server to AWS application migration service and start copying data in the real time. After installation, I waited until the initial synchronization of the disk and data completed successfully. This ensures all volumes and applications are replicated to the staging area in the AWS. Next, I launched a text instance in AWS. This is to validate that application runs properly after migration, including network settings, disk layout, and service status. After testing, I waited for the cutover window. A planned time with the migration would be finalized, and users would switch over to new cloud services. During the cutover window, I launched the cutover instance from AWS. This is the final version of the services in the cloud, now ready to take overall traffic. I verified that cutover instance launched successfully and the application was running correctly. Once everything looking good, I finalized the cutover in the AWS console. Finally, I archived the old on-premises server and continued hosting the application in AWS make sure that migration was smooth, stable, and complicated. This is the project I worked in recently. Instead of using on-premises server, I was created one virtual machines in my own laptop. And coming to the task, no, everything was fine. It created. Yes, I was. But okay. Hello.